Hi there, I'm the Extraordinary Tourist and welcome to part 3 of my studio diaries documenting the progress of my 3 paintings titled 3 Cat Tales. In this part I'm going to be adding more shading to my cats and probably a little bit more colour, and who knows how far I'll get after that. So in order to do my shading and start making these cats look a bit more three-dimensional, I've mixed up a brown here, you can see there, which is mixed from quite a lot of red and then just a tiny amount of blue and yellow to get a dark brown, and I'm going to be using that to start giving my cat a bit more form and to also do some of the stripes of the cat so that when I do my black stripes they won't just be pure black, they'll have some brown sort of colouring behind them as well. So I just start doing this, and I don't really know what I can tell you about it. I suppose back in episode, or part 1, I said my shadows and the way I light my things is sort of as if they were being lit from the top right of the painting, so that's sort of how I roughly determine where all my shadows are going to go. So, and it's only a very sort of loose determination for lighting. I'm pretty sure if you actually analysed the lighting that I do on a lot of my paintings, it would be really incorrect and all over the place, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is whether the final picture comes together and looks good. It doesn't matter if the lighting isn't perfect or little bits of it aren't correct. It's how it all comes together in the end. So you can sort of see how, as I work, we sort of started out really messy and not worrying too much about where the paint went, and then as we've got further along we sort of had to tighten the brush strokes up and think more about not going out of different regions so as to sort of bring the picture together into one sort of I would say coherent picture. That's right, I don't know. But if you look closely you'll see my edges aren't brilliant, which I don't concern myself too much with. I mean, it doesn't matter if you sort of haven't quite got an edge nice and perfect here and there. As I said, it's how the overall thing comes together that really matters. It really is, at this stage there's not really much more I can tell you about what I do in the way of constructing these paintings. It's more just a case of making decisions as I paint, and it doesn't really get more complex than that. It's no different from when you're colouring in an image in a colouring book. You just sort of choose colours how you feel that they should be, and that's really all there is to it. There's no sort of big decision making going on. It's just as simple as colouring in a picture, really. So now that I've done a few of the shadows and some of the darker stripes on this, I've decided I'm going to do some of the lighter areas and sort of fill in where the cats have got sort of lighter fur colour. I'm going to use this colour that I've mixed here, which to get that, all I've done is I've taken the brown that I used for the shading and added a lot of white to it, and that left me with a colour that was a bit too much like skin tone, which you can see possibly across there. So I've added some yellow to it just to get more of a creamy brown rather than a skin tone pink. And I'm going to use that to start blocking in some of these sort of areas where the cat is more white. And make them sort of a little less yellow, if you like. Get rid of some of that yellow from the lower layers. I'm going to actually use some water on that because that's a bit too thick and I don't want it to look that sort of rigid around the edges. So put a bit of water on it, that might thin it out a bit, and we'll still get some of that yellow showing in from below, but still get the sort of creamy skin tones that we're looking for. I think I may actually have to wipe some of that off because it's a bit too thick. Basically looks terrible, so how thick it is, I want it to be more translucent, and that was just way too thick. That's, as you can see, that's one of the traps of using white, is that if you get it too thick it will easily paint over your colour instead of being nice and sort of see-through like I sort of want it for this particular painting. I don't want it to be that thick because I want my layers below to kind of show through. It's still getting a bit too much colour. So I'm trying, by wiping it, I'm trying to get rid of this sort of definite line that's being left by the brush as I paint. I don't want that sort of actual line. That's looking more like what I had in mind now. Feet themselves will eventually be more white than cream. This colour will sort of help. When I put white on this foot, it will make it stand out from the white that I've used behind it, because this cream will act as a kind of a shadow effect. You can see there, that is actually painting over my colour rather than being see-through. So way too much. think that's where I'm going to leave it today. You may notice if you look closely, now I've added a bit of pink as well to the feet on here and the nose, just in anticipation of when I do the white around there. I've got my sort of paw prints and stuff and nose already in there. So that's where I'm going to leave it for this episode of my studio diary. We're pretty well over the halfway mark now, and tomorrow I'll start adding my black and my white, which is what I use generally to do all the finer details. And beyond that there's probably a little bit of shading still to be done, but we're pretty much getting there. So till the next video, we shall see you later. Bye for now.